Now it's time for Whispers, your number one source for all things paranormal, with your hosts Jordan Klein and Nick Queen, and produced by the lovely Lola Miller. Whispers is brought to you by West Virginia Penitentiary Tours. At the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, unforgettable, historical, educational.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Whispers on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. It is 6:07 p.m., 75 degrees here in downtown Wheeling. I'm Jordan Klein, here with Nick Queen, Lola Miller.
What were you trying to say to me?
I know.
Well, you were turning down her heads. You weren't turning down her headset. You were turning down your recording.
Did I turn down your headset?
Oh, well, it was connected to your computer. That's the one you told me to mess
Who
with.
is following
Flurry
the
of
cord?
activity all of a sudden.
Oh, well.
And he's looking at me like, and I'm like,
Nick reads sign language. Nick reads normal sign language just as good as he tries to give his own version of sign language, which is like him and Helen Keller are the only ones that can figure each other out. He's getting up. Everybody save me.
I don't know that we should laugh at that, but it's amusing.
Nick's mama decided to join us today. Sherry, you going to say hi?
Hello. Wow. That was a lot.
Well,
to the point.
Yeah.
She's scared.
There's nothing to be scared of. There's only 100 million people listening to you as we speak.
Wanting to hear your every thought, your every...
I think that and
Hello,
I can't
everyone.
breathe. Hyperventilate.
There's some lady in Ireland here going, "Oh, it's Nick's mama." That wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't.
That wasn't very good Irish accent. I tried, though. I don't know. Numbers here, 304-214-1600. If you're out of the area, you can call us toll-free, 1-866-514-1600. That's 1600.
These are the worst headphones I've ever put on in this place. I'm going to change. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Cats.
I wonder how are the kitties, Lola?
Oh, since you ask. They are now 4.5 weeks old, and I have to start giving them canned kitty food.
Will they be ready for our Halloween giveaway show?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they will.
Will they really?
Yes, they will. We are going, with every call, you get a kitten. Because I'm sure Marianne probably still has 5 of her own left, so, we would have 8 kittens to give away. Is that
legal? Can we do that legally?
I don't know, but since when have we worried about that?
We'll do it anyway and let Mr. Fitzsimmons worry about it afterwards.
Well, I do know that we usually put the pizza out there where would we put the cats? They'll be sitting here.
Yeah, little box out there. Take one. Last night,
we could staple a name to it, like
yes. On their tail. I named them. I said I was not going to do that. I named them. The little female is Princess, but I call her Sissy. The tiger striped one, of course, is Tigger. And
nice.
he's the big, bold one. He's the one that gets into all the trouble.
The wonderful
and then
thing
the
about
other,
Tigger,
the little black one. The little black one is called Weenie, for teeny weeny scaredy kitty.
Aw. See, and that's a cute cat, too.
Oh, he's cute. He really is. But he is a scaredy kitty. He really is. But Tigger, last night, I have 18 steps from my second floor to my first floor.
Yeah.
Thank God they're carpeted, because all of a sudden I see the dog's head going, I'm thinking, what is she looking at? Oh, here comes Tigger looking like a drunken sailor coming across the living room. Evidently, he had fallen down the stairs. Oh, Tigger. But he's not. He's bold. He's the least afraid of all of them, and they're all well socialized with dogs already.
Oh, that's
so
good.
Yeah, you can. And believe me, my dog, she cleans them.
Oh.
Cleans them inappropriately, but she cleans them. It's like, Gretchen, get your head out of her. But they're cute. But thank you for asking about my babies.
Now, keep that in mind, everybody out there, that Halloween comes. The 27th is our Tuesday before Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So get your stories ready. We got some kitties we might be passing on. We also got various books from authors that we've had on, and their publishing companies are sending us books too for giveaways. We got movie tickets. We got pizzas. We're gonna have the whole 9 yards.
Wow, big show.
It'll be a fun night. And kitties. I mean, who doesn't want?
Who doesn't like a kitty?
Who doesn't want a kitty?
That's right. That's right. Well, shall I get our guest on the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. While we're doing that, go ahead.
Okay. For those out there that want to register, we're going to do something. Today we're giving away stuff from each guest, and something that we're going to do is give away something from the on the air from a call-in, and something from our online registrations. Because we have people that's been registering for prizes online.
Yes, and I also just sent an email to people from last week that tried to register, and that was a complete failure. But now my system's working, so
we got to fix
it's version 2.0. It works.
It's not the beta version. We got to. Yeah. If you registered last week on the website, that's whispersradio.com. Up at the top, there's a button that says "Want to win a prize?" ?
And who doesn't?
I know.
You could get a cat from this.
You never know. Lola might give away a kitty on the website.
Just going to pick somebody and just
ship
it off FedEx.
Lily wants one, and I'm thinking road trip to New York. Lily, I'll deliver your kitty.
There you go. So you get Lola and a kitty for a whole weekend.
Yeah.
Well, is that the grand prize?
I don't know about how grand it is.
All of a sudden, guys are just, whoa, slow down, people. Our system crashed.
Oh, no.
Look what we did.
Did it really?
I'm just
okay.
Boy,
it wouldn't
Jordan,
surprise
you just
me.
Turned white.
It wouldn't surprise me with the luck that we have with computers in this room.
That's right. Well, we have our guest. Dr. Adams is on the phone waiting for you.
All right. Up first, our guest, Dr. Alfred Adams, releasing his new DVD, Are We Living in the End Times? Scheduled to release on the 29th. What's today?
22nd.
22nd. Okay, this is
next Tuesday.
This is a pre-release show. I guess he's okay with that. Dr. Adams, are you with us?
Yes.
Can I call you Doc?
Sure, everyone calls me Doc.
All right.
Don't call me late for dinner, and don't call me collect.
All right, now tell us the idea of this book. What do you got going on here?
The DVD spawned off of the 2 books that I wrote. Due to the fact of after doing a lot of research, it kind of came and dawned on me that, there is a level of non-readers out there, and more people, it's a lot easier to pop in a movie, 55-minute DVD,
Very
and
true.
get a good conjunction of everything that's going on with facts, figures, and telling a story that you, quote, end quote, saw something on CNN, as opposed to actually seeing something that actually happened on CNN. It starts to actually say, well, you can't dispute that. You physically can see the guy on TV talking about it, making, whether it's facts or allegations, it's still happening. Then at that point, what we try to do was leave it in the viewer of the movie, to draw to your own conclusion. All the facts that are put into the DVD, whether it covers North American Union, the Amero, living in a cashless society, the movement of the RFID chip, things that are actually in line with biblical prophecy. It starts to put into the viewer's eyes, hopefully, questions of either A, how far along in advance are these things that are happening, and B, maybe I should do some research because I've never even heard of the North American Union.
Yeah, I've never either. Can you talk to us about that for our listeners?
Well, the North American Union is a proposed situation that was created in the Bush administration. It happened actually overnight. It was done by Bush administration. They did not get any input from Congress.
And which Bush administration are we talking about? First one,
last one.
I'm just making sure.
One, right.
No, I'm just okay.
I was guessing.
I've heard more than I care to about this. So
okay.
He's fortunate. Congress absolutely did not have any input, and no voters within the United States had any input. The proposed plan is to merge Canada, Mexico, and the United States into one country.
That's crazy.
This sounds like a great idea.
There's some pros and cons.
Wow, don't laugh.
There's some pros and cons.
Being sarcastic, and he's looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I mean, if you look at it from this way, they planned, but we've seen what the economy did this year. People were screaming for, China did it, France did it, screaming for a new global currency. Mm-hmm. There is a proposed currency that would take care of the United States, Canada, and Mexico, which is the Amero. Now, at the G20 summit, which y'all are not too far from that right now that's going on.
No, just right down the road.
Yeah. They already had a proposed global currency, and the actual coin is already created a prototype. So there are movements to be in a situation, whether it's economically, politically, laws, governmental bodies, to be under a one world government, a one world currency, one world body and laws. And according to scripture and Bible prophecy, those that would know it, in Revelation chapter 13, we know that at some point in history it was written, but in some point in our very near future, there will be an antichrist that comes on the scene, and all the nations pull together and turn their authority over to this person, and he rules as a global elite, and he has complete control. All governing bodies, you're under a one world government system. And when you start to see movement like the North American Union happening, which is mirroring the European Union, starts to create, you know what, something's going on. What on earth is going on? And, you know, it kind of gives you the look of something's happening, but a lot of people might not put their finger on it. A lot of newscasts that will cover this will cover it either from a political or economical standpoint, but very few will cover it from a biblical standpoint.
Yeah. Well, here's a question that we had. Now, you're wanting to, you mentioned the Antichrist and then kind of one world government, situations we're getting in. Now, I know during the election, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Obama's the Antichrist. Obama's the Antichrist. Obama's the Antichrist." What are your feelings towards that? Do you think that Obama, could be biblically an Antichrist figure, or do you think that he's setting up for what is to come?
Good question. I'll have to answer it from this standpoint. Biblically, the position he holds right now, he could not be the Antichrist. Biblically, because he's only the president of the United States. Now, in 4 years, if he does not get reelected, and for some odd reason he moves on to a different rank, let's say through the United Nations or Council on Foreign Relations or Trilateral Commission, that can open up another whole different story.
Now, isn't there like an ancestry thing, though? You have to come from a certain region or...
To an extent. Biblically, from when we study theology, when we actually study theology and we study eschatology is more of a biblical prophecy side. He does come from the government system out of Europe, a European government system referring to everything's under one form of government, like Rome was in that time. United Nations would fit the category because it is a united portion of nations. It's all nations together and a portion in one. See, what people have not really realized is it's not going to fall under, like, I guess you would say every single country would be under one complete thing. If you took European Union and you took all their countries, all you have to do is delegate one piece of information, one piece of authority to the top leader, and then it just filters down. So it becomes easier to control 20 countries when all of it's under one supervision. So that's like when you get into the quote-unquote visions that John saw, the 10-head dragon. We don't have 10-head dragons walking down the street, so that's not going to happen. But you will have 10 heads of state, 10 heads of country.
Oh, geez, Lola, go ahead.
The Security Council of the UN. How many countries belong to that?
Well, pretty much all of them. Every country we have right now belongs to the UN.
No, to the Security Council.
I think it is 10, either 10 or 12.
I'll look it up real quick.
Ooh, that's scary.
So we are seeing, I guess you would say, some facts, things that are pulling together that are showing truth and evidence that we are moving towards a global government. There have already been proposals for global currency.
It says here 15 members on the Security Council.
There you go.
Consisting of 5 veto-wielding members, China, France, Russia, UK, US, and 10 elected non-permanent members with 2-year terms. So, there you go.
Okay. Well, you could easily whittle it down to 10.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
Does the prophecy, I'm guessing, and this is going to sound stupid, does it have to be exact, or, because it is symbolic to some extent?
Well, if you grew up in the church and you grew up in any form of faith that would be, classified as, Christianity,
sure.
We're always taught to take the Bible literally.
Yeah.
So at some point, when the Antichrist takes control, it'll be down to 10. Now, what happens to the other 5? Maybe they merge, migrate. I don't know. they may get in a position where they just economically fall off the face of the earth. And if the rapture would take place, that would be a lot of big answers for a lot of things. It would totally wipe out some countries.
Now, okay, we're talking about you got the North American Union, you've got the European Union, Asia to some extent. I think they're going towards some kind of like an economic union as well.
Yeah,
I think they even have one.
Union as well. Yeah, the African Union, the Asian Union, the South American Union, and basically what it is setting up for is a lot easier to have one form of dictatorship. You have all your laws. What some people don't know is the military has already started signing agreements with the United States and Canada.
Really?
These things have already been put in place, and it was put in place on Valentine's Day of 2008. NORCOM did sign into agreements with Canada's military that they can be used inside the United States in case of emergencies, whether it be quote unquote another 9/11 situation or a Katrina situation or something like that. We can actually have foreign troops policing on U.S. soil.
Wow. And
so why don't they tell us about this? How did you find out?
Well, you can find out. I mean, I believe personally, I believe that we have a shadow government. I believe that President Kennedy, it was someone that knew about it. I believe his speech was the thing that actually got him killed. These are my beliefs.
Now, which speech is this?
When he came forth and talked about secret societies, the secret oaths, that he was opposed to it. And right before he made that speech was when they proposed to him Operation Northwoods. If you look up Operation Northwoods, that was a false flagship that was going to be done on U.S. soil to make believe that Cuba has attacked the United States. This is actual fact and history. At that point, when he denied it, that's when he realized that all the papers were signed except his signature. The entire government agreed to totally internally destroying bases, killing people, and doing whatever it took to convince the rest of the world, United States people, that we were attacked by Cuba. It's called Operation Northwoods. You can look that up, and it will give you the information about that false flagship. There's actually probably even a document on the Wikipedia site that you can click and pull up that your viewers could actually follow it. For me,
I have that up right now, so there is a document you can look at.
Yeah, I would. For our government to even remotely think that, to do that to itself, runs into big brother, bigger situations. And I've been asked numerous times about 9/11. And when you see the actual Patriot Act and you see what has actually been taken away from us, referring to our rights, the big question comes up is if you don't know something's for you or able for you to use, it's very easy to take it away. And if you ask the average person what habeas corpus is, they'll tell you they have no clue, but that's your right to a fair trial. If you ask the average person what posse comitatus is, they'll tell you they have no clue. That is not having the police department, referring to the military. The actual military is not allowed to police on U.S. soil. And we actually had that happen when Katrina, because I live in New Orleans. I mean, we had tanks in Walmart's parking lot.
Wow.
It was total. You remember the movie The Siege?
Yeah.
It was just like that.
Wow.
But it was real. I mean, for the listeners that tune in for your ultimate ghost stories, this is it. The Book of Revelation doesn't get any more freakier than this. I mean, this is, you're going to live it from a prophecy standpoint. I'm always asked, well, can we write our congressmen and our senators and stop this? Sure, if you want to exercise your fingers, you can try, but according to prophecy, it's going to be fulfilled.
So there's really nothing we can do but write it.
Pray and make sure you're right with the Lord. I mean, my ultimate thing would be always tell people, make sure you're born again and you're saved.
Wow.
Now,
I'm speechless. I
was going to say,
that's
have
a
you ever
first
heard
time.
about the, yeah. If you get Lola speechless, you've done something. So
you get a cookie.
No, you get a kitten.
Yeah. You want a cat?
Mailing that might get y'all in trouble with the law.
We'll put holes in the box. I mean, geez. We're not crazy.
You drill the hole before the cat.
Yeah. There we go.
That's why we only have
Thanks,
three.
Doc.
That's why we only have 3 kittens to give away. There were 4. Let's not talk about that anymore.
No.
Now, have you heard about the concentration camps? And I've heard this before, and most of the time I see pictures and stuff, but I'm thinking, well, there's got to be some other reason. You're giving me a real weird look.
Yeah, what concentration camps are you talking about?
Concentration camps or secret prisons being built on U.S. ground.
Oh, by Halliburton.
Well, this is even before Halliburton, but we just think about them. But yeah, they're supposed to be all over the place. Have you ever heard anything about these dark islands?
Yes, I have. I've actually heard a lot about them. And as I am speaking to you, I am going to give you the bill that passed on that. If you give me a second, I'm inside.
Sure. Take your time. I want to see the bill.
It was a bill that did pass, and I'm looking for it. It passed this year, actually, to continue to allow them to build them. They did use the funds, U.S. funds, to create this. And how far is it going to go? I don't know. It is actually H.R. 645. For your viewers, if they type in H.R. 645, that is your information for Emergency Centers Establishment Act.
Wasn't the first one passed sometime, probably the early 2000s?
This was January 22nd, 2009.
No, but this is the extension. Wasn't the original one passed?
Yeah.
Before then? Because Halliburton got the contract.
Well, yeah, I mean, George Bush's people.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely.
And they were going to use it for emergency housing, and then they were talking about putting illegal aliens in them.
Well, and this right here, it's interesting you should say that. If we have spent so much money and so much focus on border control, why did we go in the middle of the night and strike a deal to erase the borders and become one country?
I know.
One has to stop and think and ask himself, just as a U.S. citizen, whether you believe the Bible or not, that's irrelevant at this point. One has to ask himself, that becomes a total waste of taxpayers' money.
Now, the ones I was thinking of, because I just looked it up again, because I've seen the one that you sent. This is. Have you ever heard of FEMA and the Rex 84 program?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and I think that's the first, and that's the ones I've actually seen the pictures of. So it's FEMA and Rex 80 and the Rex 84 if you want to look it up. Can you tell me anything about that? This is from 1997, so this is even further back.
This program has been going on for quite some time. Actually, I can't think of the gentleman's name. I can see the colonel. I can see his face too. He was actually put on the spot and he was asked. I can't think of his name. It'll come to me probably after the show's over. But anyway, he was asked questions about it, and other people stepped in and said, then when he talked about continuity of government and how certain executive orders will be granted over to FEMA, such as taking control over all highways, taking control over all schools, hospitals, television, media, water, waste management, everything the government could take over in case of a major emergency. Well, that's a dictatorship. Right out the box, that's a dictatorship. These executive orders were put in place. And there are talks of definite FEMA camps. Actually, Glenn Beck was going to do a show and try to debunk it. And he honestly said on TV, I'm having a very hard time being put in a position to call this stuff false. There's something really going on. And he even said, we have to name the monster under the bed.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
He said, we have to name the monster under the bed if we're going to make any progress with this thing. And that's when we have to, and from my standpoint, with the movie, that's my standpoint when I sit back and say, it's biblical prophecy. I know it needs to be talked about. I know the people need to be aware of it. But if you believe the Bible like I do, it's going to come to pass. Sooner or later, we will be under a one-world dictatorship.
All right, Doc, I hate to interrupt you right here, but we do have to break for a commercial.
And when we get back, we'll be giving away some DVDs from you. If you're out there and you want a DVD, go to website whispersradio.com, hit want to win a prize, and send me your information. We'll be giving one away from there, one away over the phone. So,
all right, you're listening to Whispers Radio on AM 1600 WKKX and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Pulling out at first dawn's light, Gotta free my mind, get you out of sight. All across this open sea, sparkle blue beauty like a young man's dream.
The former West Virginia Penitentiary housed some of the most violent criminals in history. Many of the prisoners who lived there also died there. It is known for being one of the most bloody institutions in the United States. Don't miss your chance to experience the former West Virginia Penitentiary. Your tour will consist of an astonishing 90 minutes that offers an awesome history, a touch of art, cold hard facts, and an education of the justice system. Tours start 11 a.m. Tuesday through Sunday. For more information, go to www.wvpentours.com or call them at 304-843-4146. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Whispers Radio on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. It is 6:35 p.m., 75 degrees here in downtown Wheeling. I'm Jordan Klein here with Nick Queen, the lovely Lola Miller, and Miss Sherry, what's your last name now? Rodriguez?
Klein. Same as yours.
Klein? We'll go with Klein. She married an out-of-countryer.
Out of countryer?
A Honduran. We were just talking about her living in Honduras.
He did live here. I mean,
All right, if you're just checking in with us, I know our Pal Talk friends have just now got their server straightened out. We are talking to Dr. Alfred Adams about end times happenings. We're talking about one world government, cashless societies, all that kind of good happenings. Are you there, Doc?
Sure am.
All righty.
We were talking about amongst ourselves during the break about the government's power to take away everything from us. That there are these FEMA executive orders that give them power to take over transportation, communication, power, food, bridge, government, register people, aircrafts. And Lola was talking about the power to giving the President Obama the power to take over the internet.
Right.
Or take it off the air, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck's happening?
Well, and that's just it. That's why we did the DVD, Are We Living in the End Times, to ask the question, or is this generation living the final days that, the Bible talks about? The old saying, how much worse can it get? I hate to really bust someone's bubble, but the answer is it's going to get much worse. As things continue to happen in the world system, a person that believes their Bible and a person that's a Christian, born-again believer, it only gets better for them because according to Scripture, they know that it won't be long before their Lord and Savior comes back, to rapture His church. And those can be some of the things that can actually spark off those executive orders. If a rapture would happen, there'd be total man chaos globally. So you would be put in a position where there'd be very few answers, and they would have to do something to actually gain control. And I believe at that point, there would probably be a tremendous amount of military force to gain control at that time.
It's just crazy. And it's sad that we're all missing.
How did we let it get this far?
Yeah.
Go get them, boys. Who was that?
The slippery slope. It just starts. They start, and it's slowly. You don't even realize, and when you don't say anything about the small things, the big things go. Yep.
It's like gas prices, how they just kind of climb and climb penny by penny, and then it's like, oh, wait a second, it's $5 a gallon. When did that happen? And it's like, well, we're not going to go back to $1.70.
And then you look at it's $2.40. It's great.
It even pulls itself together kind of like the bullfrog theory. You can't throw a bullfrog in a boiling hot pot. He jumps out. But if you put him in a cold pot and you light it up, the temperature gets warm. He starts to go to sleep. By the time it starts to boil and cook him, it's too late. He went into like a deep sleep, like a coma sleep. And then by that time, it's just lights out.
You are a morbid individual.
No, I've heard that. I've heard that example because it's true.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
And that's what it is. I think at this point we're in that lukewarm state where we're sleeping. I think we have passed the point of no return. I don't think that there's much we can do to stop a global government of coming into play. Another thing that's in the documentary, and I don't know if y'all had a chance to review it from the call that I received earlier, Nick, but we emphasize a lot on the RFID chip, radio frequency identification tags. You know, Verichip has received its FDA approval. They've been putting this chip in people for quite some time now. And now they have the infant protection system. They're in over 1,600 hospitals, and they're chipping babies when they're born.
And my question is, do they know they're chipping their babies when they're born?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
See, this is the thing I feel when the Bible says it's mandatory to be able to buy and sell goods, Revelation chapter 13, 16, and 17, that no man will be able to buy and sell goods, whether you're free or poor, rich or bound. That means no creed, no race. Everyone will have to have it. I think they're going to run to it. They're going to be so deceived. I think that they're going to think that this thing is going to save them. This is going to be the safety net.
Wow.
As opposed to the quote-unquote rumors we're hearing about the swine flu that it's mandatory. If you don't take it, you go to jail.
Oh, you got Lola dancing.
Lola's
I
dancing.
did. Because and this may sound bizarre. People have laughed at me during the day, but they are making it now so dire that we all get this immunization. They're saying now, too, that you're no longer just contagious during the fever stage, which is only the first couple of days, but it could last for 2 weeks. You don't want people missing all that work or school, so they're almost making it mandatory that we all get immunized. What if they have developed, and this is where people laugh at me, something like a little nanoprobe or something that, all of a sudden everybody has to be immunized. And why? Because that way they can keep track of all of us.
Let's put it this way.
He didn't laugh. See, he didn't laugh.
I'm not going to laugh. I'll put it to you like this. If anyone has not read the book 1984,
no,
that will blow you away. It was written in 1948, and everything he talked about was a completely surveillance society.
Yes, and
everyone would be chipped. Everything you do, if you talked above a whisper, it would be recorded. Here's a question you should ask yourself. Why did our government spend hundreds of millions of dollars pushing the digital television? My analog TV worked just fine.
True.
My cable system was real cool.
Yep.
But all of a sudden, everyone had to upgrade. And they even went as far as giving you rebate tickets.
Yeah, so you could get it for $10. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Because they probably want to know exactly what you're watching, when you watch, and have control over it. Doc, we got a question for you. You were talking earlier about the church rapture. We got some people out there wanting to know what that is, if you want to.
The church rapture is what the Christian faith believes. The Christian faith believes that before it will get totally out of hand and beyond chaos, that Jesus Christ will come back and rapture his church. And if you get a hold of a Bible, you can find that in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16. That's 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16. And that's when Jesus Christ will come back and rapture. Rapture referring to taking away, removing the true believers from the earth.
There's a lot of people that I've talked to some people who think that even the UFO conspiracy is a thought of, a demonic thought, to where when everybody gets raptured, people are going to say, oh, well, it was a giant abduction, to try to hide from it.
You saw the DVD when we asked that question, if millions of people just disappeared, what do you think would be the cause of it? Few people have said aliens, and that gentleman who had the Four Horsemen shirt, he said, I don't know, UFOs, and he laughed about it. You remember seeing that on the movie?
Oh, yeah.
So there is a thought process that they believe that, things will happen. It's very sad. And I mean, the number one best-selling book of all time, very few people knew that it was the Bible.
I like when I think you asked him and the one with the Four Horsemen, and I don't think was he one of the ones that didn't know about
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, he said Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, it's like you've got the shirt on, Pete. I mean, geez.
Now, while we got a couple minutes, I do want to interrupt. I want to give away 2 of your DVDs that have this, because I know there's a lot of people interested in what we're talking about.
So everybody knows these will be shipped the day they
are released.
They are released,
29th.
so that'll be the 29th, which is a week from now. So
You have one, Nick?
We have the videos through his.
Oh, because I would like
YouTube.
to see it.
Okay.
I would like to see it.
Okay,
Right.
so how are we going to do this? We're giving away one from our online registers and one from a phone call. So let's say the first person to call in right now will be the winner of the phone one, and then we'll go from there. So give us a call at 243. Why do I keep saying that?
I don't know. You're trying to give out your home number, and it's in every bathroom stall in town.
My home number's not 243.
He's trying to give out everybody else's home number.
It's Nick's. Oh. No, at 304-214-1600, out of the area, toll free, 1-866-514-1600. Call to get that the DVD. We got somebody already?
We have people
How about
that have us on speed dial. So.
Wow, that was quick. Now, if that was the toll-free line, I'd be like, oh, that's a lot of buttons.
Yeah.
Now, when you get into, let's say, God, what was it? Hold on. I got it written down here. I wrote it down. The radio frequency identification card.
Uh-huh.
What is that?
The radio frequency identification chips is a chip put out by Verichip. They partnered with a company called Digital Angel.
Uh-huh.
The name itself is kind of creepy to have
Digital
Angel following you around, so to speak. As of right now, the application has the ability to hold your medical information, stuff about who you are. Its first target market was people with like Alzheimer's, stuff like that. If they would ever leave a hospital and be wandering around, they can grab them, scan their hand, and find out who they are. We do know that the capability of swiping a card, credit card, cashless, boom. So that's an application. That's just a read and write program that needs to be added to the chip. The second thing we know is if anyone ever watches the Animal Planet channel, actually not too far ago when we had those sharks right off the coast of the East Coast, they tagged them. And they had the capability to follow them by GPS satellites to find out where they go, where they come back, and follow their pattern.
Wow.
All the technology is there. You just have to put it to the right application. Now, here's something that
Isn't that what we do to dogs?
Well, yeah, actually.
Don't we put like a chip in the dogs what we buy from the pound and stuff like that?
Yes.
Absolutely. They chip them right behind the head. They put it in. It's the exact same chip.
Okay. Now listen to this. Why do they call it the mark of the beast? It's a mark on the dog, right? The chip in. That's crazy stuff.
Well,
Epiphany.
This is what I believe from a biblical standpoint. We do know that there will be some form of mark given. When a police officer asks a gentleman, you were just robbed, did you see any distinctful marks? Yeah, he had a scratch, he had a tattoo. So it is something. Is it going to be this chip, or is this chip just a prototype to the original mark of the beast the Bible will usher in? Those are kind of the questions we need to look for,
Yeah, you think maybe they're going to ease it up.
666.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Maybe that's a serial code number.
I'll tell you this. On my YouTube, I have a clip where the RFID chip now has cyanide in it. If you type in YouTube, cyanide, RFID chip, it'll pull up. It's a newscast clip. They are now putting cyanide in these RFID chips.
Now, are you saying like the poison cyanide?
Yeah, the poison cyanide.
So you can either do it or they're going to push a button. It's going to melt the chip and kill you.
Absolutely. They can type in that will pop that chip, and it will kill you if you get out of line.
Wow.
That is absolutely on the market.
Do we know if Jordan has one now?
I hope not, because I'd be the first to go. I want to announce our winner, Miss Mary Connor from Mozart, is our DVD winner. Lo, you got her information and stuff?
Yes, I do.
That was via the phone, and the winner over the
Internet
registration.
Ruth from Pella, Iowa.
Oh, good.
Pella, Iowa.
So, Ruth,
hello, Ruth.
You are the winner of our DVD giveaway, Are We Living in the End Times by Dr. Alfred Adams.
And both of them will enjoy it. It was fun.
All right.
Well, I definitely want to see it.
I don't know if you can call it fun, I guess.
It's an eye-opener.
Informative.
Yeah,
Informative.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Doc.
No, that's fine. One thing I think people have to realize, by, like I said, getting back to just basic Bible principles, when you do start to see these things start to happen, hopefully we use them as teaching tools to prove to people the Bible's real. The second thing, hopefully, we do is make sure yourself is right with God. The old saying, when you take a flight, they always tell you if the mask comes down, put yours on first before you decide to help someone else.
Yeah.
Well, if you lead someone to the Lord and they make it, and in your process of leading them, you're not doing what you're supposed to do and you don't make it, that's pretty bad.
Sorry about your luck. We got a caller.
Too bad, so sad.
We got Rufus on line 1.
Yeah.
How we doing, Rufus?
Good. Doctor, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I teach this subject at my church, and I've been studying it for about 2.5. Well, I've been teaching it for 2.5 years. I've been studying it since I was 13. What do you think of the relationship of Islam right now to end times prophecy study?
I think it's very high. I think it's very high in it. There has been talks that I have seen that people have talked about that Muslim, they may become the actual quote unquote, religion that takes over the world at the end times, referring to the one world religion and stuff of that nature. Obama today had promised Jerusalem to the Pakistanians. He's trying to, now scripture, according to scripture, Jerusalem will never, ever, ever go back into slavery.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's getting this from, but he's making allegations about it. He's not in a position to, depart the land, divide the land. I do think we're doomed as a nation by not supporting Israel. I think that is a bad move for us.
I agree with you. Genesis 12:3. I will curse those who curse you and bless those who bless you. Also, have you ever studied Islamic prophecy? Because if you see Islamic prophecy, it's a direct correlation with Bible scripture. They believe their Messiah is coming, the Mahdi, as they call him, for a 7-year period. In the middle of that 7-year period, Isa, who they believe is Jesus, will come back and say that the Mahdi is the true Messiah. We know that to be the false prophet. And then at the end of the 7-year period, the Dajjal, which they believe is the Antichrist, comes back. And we know, according to the book of Revelations, that Jesus Christ comes back at the end of the period.
Yeah, they do have, it's really, let's just say Satan is one heck of a counterfeiter. He really mimicked and mirrored that thing to a T.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, and if you read the Quran, I mean, the basics, and I've been studying in relationship to, teaching, biblical scripture, the amazing correlations, especially when you look at the statue of Nebuchadnezzar and the reality. We always talk about Western Roman Empire, but they never talk, which is basically the right leg of that statue. And I know people were out there saying, what's he talking about? But that's the Roman Empire. But the eastern side, where Constantine settled, who was of the Roman Empire, that's the Middle East.
Correct.
They never bring that up. And the one other point I want to make, Daniel 9:26-27, it says, the people of the prince who shall come that will destroy the city. Well, they always said, okay, that was Titus, the Roman, who destroyed it in 70 AD. But it says the people of the prince, well, his legions, which was the 5th, the 10th, the 12th, and the 15th legion, they were made up of the people of the Arab background, the Syrian background, the Turkish background.
Yep.
So there's a lot of Middle Eastern background to this. I'll let you guys go and discuss it. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you very much, Rufus. Wow. I mean, I wish we had you on for 2 hours. I know Lola feels the same.
Yeah, I just was typing that to Jordan.
Well, one thing, like we say, we're seeing a tremendous amount of the movement. I'm glad people are waking up. Like the gentleman that just called, he's teaching it in his church. He's creating the awareness. He's, building great disciples for Christ. And that's what that's why I believe the end times prophecies are something that is more of an eye opener. It's very hard to lead someone to the Bible to prove to them it's real if you don't have a substance to stand on. If we can use, the news, I call it God's news behind the news. If you see the things that are continuing to happen and unfold and develop, you can tell people, look, that's not coincidence. It cannot continue to happen as accurate as it does and be disregarded as just a fluke or coincidence.
Maybe after the DVD comes out and people have an opportunity to watch it and then even get the book and read, we could have you back on for 2 hours and really delve into a lot of this in even more depth than we've done tonight.
Because there's still so much that we haven't hit on. When we get to the one world government stuff and what's actually, because like I said, or Nick said earlier during the break, we were looking at just was it just FEMA.gov or
FEMA? Well, no, it was a site talking about the different FEMA executive orders that gave FEMA more or less control over.
Okay, look that up, everybody, because the stuff. I mean, the Postmaster General can completely register everybody in the U.S. I mean, ridiculous stuff.
People listening, even if you are not a believer, and there are things that we've touched on in this last hour that have to do with your own personal freedoms, whether you want to take the biblical meanings of some of this or not. This is stuff that if you live in this country, you should be aware of what this government is taking from you and limiting you to.
And the thing to remember with full executive orders is that it's not something that's going to be argued back and forth.
No,
in
it's
Congress.
Just done.
The
with
president
a
signs
signature.
it and it's over. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's on the table. If I could, I'd like to give my website out.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Viewers can go to it and get more information. They can go to www.nearingmidnight.com. That's www.nearingmidnight.com, and you can get a lot of information there. And if you want to send me an email, send it. I'll get to it when I can. I am a real person, and I will answer your stuff.
We've been talking to a computer for the last hour.
But anybody out there, if you forget that or you're out driving or anything like that, if you go to our website, we have it listed there, and we also have links to his books.
And the books are going to be talking about the same thing the DVD's talking about, right?
Correct.
So buy the books, read them, watch the DVD, go to his website, read it.
Become a fan, become educated.
That's it.
Education is the key point, you know.
Yep.
The key thing, they always say knowledge is power. There's a second part to that. If you don't apply it, what good is it?
Yeah.
True, yeah.
Yep.
So applied knowledge is power. Once you get this information, you get this DVD in your hand, you know, sit down with your group before you watch your Sunday night football game and say, look, give me 55 minutes of your time. It's going to be well worth it. Put it on, let them see it. They probably won't even want to watch the football game after they see this DVD.
Well, if you're a Lions fan, yeah, you're probably right.
Hey, don't kick them. I think they will at least win one this year.
You think? Because I'm a Lions fan. I grew up in Detroit, so you know, a diehard. They've taught me humility, if nothing else. And I just keep thinking they can't go 0-16 again. They just can't.
Well, I mean, they can.
I know. That's the sad thing.
They have the ability. Hey, Doc, that is all the time that we have. I want to thank you very much.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
We said we're having you back, and we are going to really dig into this because, like I said, there's so much more aspects of it. I mean, this is like 100 conspiracy theories all in one that lead to one outcome.
One thing, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So we're definitely coming back to this if you will have us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me this time. And, you know, shoot me an email, and we'll schedule something in the books. And I'll be back on.
Great.
That's awesome.
Great.
This is Dr. Alfred Adams, the movie, Are We Living in the End Times? You can go to whispersradio.com and find his website and pictures of his books. You can click on them, buy them on Amazon. Good times for everybody.
Well, kind of.
Well, I mean.
Yeah.
Except for all the people that's going to die because it's in the world.
Well, you know. We won't talk about that.
Good educations
thanks,
for
Doc.
everybody.
Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, Doc.
Hey, thanks for having me. Y'all take care, and God bless.
Bye, Doc.
Bye.
Man.
Whoa.
Is your brain throbbing?
Yes. And like I told you guys in the break, I am at a distinct disadvantage. I do not know my Bible and verses, and so y'all start throwing that stuff around. It's like, whoa. But like I said, even if you don't take it as, you know, the biblical way, this is stuff that your government is doing to you.
Yeah, if you remove the entire Bible stuff, it's still scary because it's really still happening.
Yeah, because the government is really taking over that kind of stuff. FEMA really does have acts that take care of all that.
You know, you got the swine flu coming, and they keep on saying all these people. Even if 1%, 2% of the people in the United States got it and died, I mean, that's a lot of people. That's enough to say, well, you know what? We got an emergency coming up.
Yes.
Seize everything. We got to control the, you know.
It takes the one pen stroke to put martial law into effect.
I know there was an executive order that was declared, I think it was after the Depression or something, and this is it's saying that, you know, the president's got control of this, and this until, you know, such a time, but it was never revoked. And I cannot remember. If anybody knows, email me. I mean, I'm trying to remember what it was.
There is a movie you guys need to watch. I mean, everybody knows I'm a big Turner Classic Movies girl. That's what I watch. This is an old movie called Gabriel Over the White House. And it was made during the Depression, so it was made in the early 30s. And he becomes president, and it's kind of like Abe Lincoln's spirit is kind of guiding him.
Uh-huh.
But it is scary. The reasons that he takes over the country are entirely different than somebody would in these days. He did it then because he needed to get people back to work, and the cabinet wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. It was, you know, all the bigwigs in Washington were looking out for themselves and not for the common man. But it is a brilliant movie. It's called Gabriel Over the White House. I think John Huston is in it.
I've looked it up. It's Walter Houston.
Walter Houston.
And Karen Morley. I've heard of Houston. I've never heard of Karen Morley.
She's
wouldn't.
older than you, Nick.
Yeah, way older. But it's a brilliant movie. It really is, and it's thought-provoking and scary, very scary. So I highly recommend that.
It's crazy. Next hour we will be giving away more stuff. Fun times.
We love
giving away stuff. So we're like the givinest. Are we not the givinest show on here? Come on
we are
now.
the givinest show.
We love you people.
Are y'all going to the Capitol tomorrow night?
What's the Capitol tomorrow night?
It's opening tomorrow night.
What? Maybe.
I can't. I'll be right next
What time?
door. I gotta work.
What time is it? Because I don't have to work. 7?
7.
I might be able to sneak it and get out there.
We gotta talk. Okay. We need to go.
All right. Up next we have UFO sightings. Stan Romanek.
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 Not even just sightings. They took him. So
sightings, abductions, more fun stuff. I want to address real quick. People out there saying that like to hear about the paranormal stuff without the religious overtones. We understand, but religions and to other people are very paranormal. You get into the occult, you get into psychics, you get into Christianity, you get into all that. They all originate somewhere. We got to go. CNN News. Bye. The former West Virginia penitentiary housed some of the most violent criminals in history. Many of the prisoners who lived there also died there. It is known for being one of the most bloody institutions in the United States. Don't miss your chance to experience the former West Virginia penitentiary. Your tour will consist of an astonishing 90 minutes that offers an awesome history, a touch of art, cold hard facts, and an education of the justice system. Tours start 11 a.m. Tuesday through Sunday. For more information, go to www.wvpentours.com or call them at 304-843-4146.
And now back to Whispers, brought to you by West Virginia Penitentiary Tours.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to Whispers Radio on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. I'm Jordan Klein. He's Nick Queen. He's not even paying attention. She's Lola Miller. Sherry Klein sitting there trying to not be heard on the radio because she's scared of everybody. Give us a call, 304-214-1600 if you're out of the area, 1-866-514-1600. I guess we sparked up quite the debate on Pal Talk.
Well, good. That's what we're here for. Honestly, that's what we're here for. We're here to instigate discussion about different things, and I wanted to say something really profound, and now I can't think of anything to say at all.
Insert profound thought here.
Yeah, that's right between the old smiley faces.
Yeah.
I did. Really? What was that?
Don't ask me.
Was that you?
I did not burp. I went, oh, what did I do?
You did burp.
Yes,
you did
burp.
I on the radio. Lola, I thought you were a lady. We're taking the lovely off the commercial. And the crude Lola Miller. He's got to go, Lola Miller.
I did not burp.
Come on, guys.
I'm mad.
There's Helen. I ain't taking this anymore.
All right, so...
but like I was saying, but right before the break, it got cut off. That, all aspects of the paranormal include religion. They include UFOs, Bigfoot. I mean, everything that you could possibly believe on is paranormal, beyond normal to somebody else. And that's what we're talking about, and I think we should give everybody a chance. Now,
Absolutely.
I mean, even as Lola said, as somebody who is looking at it from somebody who doesn't study the Bible every day, that's not where her, where she's at. But she got something out of it. She knows that, there's stuff going on that's making her want to learn more, to delve deeper in. There's other people out there that may or may not know. But, I mean, if you get into the one world government, we can see it. It's proof. It's there. You can look it up. Nick was looking at the FEMA stuff. There's stuff out there that's going on. Yeah, okay, he's got it matched up and lined out with the Bible. That's a conspiracy theory, and that's what we checked out. It's cool.
Well, if you stop and you think about the different... You don't even have to parallel it to Revelations. The European Union. The fact that there was an administration in our government that was talking about a North American Union. So many of these continents are doing that, trying to lump all their economics together for a lot of reasons. One, with Europe, it seemed to make sense. So you didn't have the problem of money crossing borders and having to do monetary exchanges and everything every time you wanted to buy something from a neighboring country. So it makes sense on that level, and I think that's what they were trying to pass off to the people in the Americas, is that it would only make economic sense. It would be easier for trade like that if you had one steady monetary value that could be used for international trade. But you take that and you take it a step further, and all of a sudden you do have a very small group running all of the economies of the world.
Yeah, that's scary.
And just as we saw back in the fall when the world itself was ready for economic collapse, this is a scary time. And the faster that information travels, the more instantaneous people can present their ideas. All it takes is somebody that's extremely charismatic and well-spoken and liked on the surface to make their presence known and to get a following. That's how easy it is. Stop and think about Nazi Germany, and I tend to go back to that quite often. But here's this little painter, house painter in Hitler that literally almost A, invaded the entire world, and B, almost took the world to a total collapse. Now, there were a lot of economic reasons for that happening, and the Treaty of Versailles was one of them, but the fact remains, when you take a people that is dissatisfied, it's not difficult to have somebody that has the charisma to get up there and have people follow. And we are like sheep. We tend to follow the leader and blindly go wherever they decide to take us. And our society today is so lazy that unless it affects us directly in our living room, we tend to say, well, it's not about me. I'm not going to get involved. And that's the first step to all the problems.
True. Nobody wants to take the leap and go forward with it, and that's where we're getting it.
All right, while we're getting the guest on the show, if you want another prize, we're going to be giving away 2 books. Messages. The Messages? I don't want to say it wrong.
Yes, Messages, the world's most documented extraterrestrial.
I couldn't remember if it was Message or Messages. I had to check. But Messages by Stan Romanek. I've been reading it got most of the way through it. Very, very interesting book. Very easy to read and very well documented. So it's going to be a fun interview. But if you want to get the book, we're going to be giving away 1 on the internet, 1 over the phone, like we did last time.
I like that. I think that was good because it gave our guys that couldn't call in.
Yeah, there's a lot of people listening over the podcast. I feel bad leaving them out. So now they get a chance. A lot of people listening all over the place that just don't have the number on speed dial, like Lila mentioned.
Quick question: do the people that registered earlier have to re-register, or are you keeping them?
I sent them a message. The ones that you mean the ones from last week?
The ones we just gave away. We just gave away a book from there. Do they have to re-register?
I'm leaving them in the database. I'm just gonna 1 every 30 days or something like that. I'll figure out a system. So, no, they do not have to re-register.
If you're real clever, Nick, you could make it so that it will automatically drop their name on a 30-day count.
I could probably do that.
I know you could. That's why
I'll figure out something. But
that way they don't have to register every week, and they might just be surprised.
I'll have it. I've got Excel working here. When I get home, I'll do something. So, all right.
Well, we have Stan on the phone.
All right, our second hour guest, Mr. Stan Romanek. He has been having UFO sightings since the age of 5 after a UFO encounter in December of 2000, in which he videotaped. His life has been a living nightmare. Stan, are you with us?
Yes, I sure am.
Now, tell us about what's been going on. What you've been having abduction or encounters since you were 5?
Well, as a child, I had some bizarre things happen. You really don't put 2 and 2 together till, you're an adult. But my first major encounter happened, like you said, December of 2000.
when I saw my first UFO, along with a whole bunch of other people.
Now, in the book, and I've been reading through it. You talk about some very weird encounters happening when you were a child, which kind of gave me goosebumps. I'll be honest with you. Can you kind of go through those a little bit, because I know, I mean, that to me that was the first thing, and I'm thinking, it was just one of those wow moments in the book.
I want to add something to that too, because we had a guest, was it last week or the week before, that said he knew his child was having abduction experiences. Now, how did that affect you, being 5 years old?
Well, when I grew up in the military. My father was in the military. He was a lifer, what they call a lifer. He stayed in the military his whole life. He was stationed, and even to this day I don't know what he did, but he was stationed at missile bases throughout the United States and did something there. Mm-hmm. And I remember as a small child hearing the story where a UFO came over one of the missile silos in Minot, North Dakota in '68, I believe it was. And they tracked this UFO after it did something to the codes. It actually armed one of the missiles. And then they tracked it over to our small town in Northwood, North Dakota. And they followed it. And when I was about 5 years old at the time, I remember I was playing with my pedal car. I had this, man, I wished I had that pedal car again. It's worth some money. But I was throwing little rocks at my pedal car, and this strange woman came up to me, and I remember looking at her, and she had these really bizarre slanted eyes. And she told me that I was going to do something important when I grew up. And I remember she opened the palm of her hand, and this looked like a large glowing blue marble started floating. And I remember my mom saw this woman, came running out, grabbed me, grabbed my pedal car, and told me to play in the house. And the woman kind of walked away. And then I saw her again a few years later after my dad was stationed in Cheyenne, Wyoming. We were Christmas shopping or something, I don't remember, and the woman approached, started talking to my parents. And I remembered that I knew her from somewhere, but I couldn't remember where. And then I saw her again when we moved. I was originally born in Denver, and then we moved back to Denver. I saw her again when I was about 13, and she came up and talked to me while I was playing on a swing set up at a park. And I remember she started talking to me, and I looked up at her, and her mouth wasn't moving, and it scared the heck out of me, and I ran all the way home.
Wow. Now, did any of this? I mean, I know your parents are, in the book, they noticed this woman the few times that it happened. I mean, did you ever tell them about, did you ever tell them about the woman not moving her mouth while she was talking to you, or any of this?
I tried to when I was, when I ran home, and my mom just blew it off. Mm-hmm. But I was just, yanking her chain. But yeah, that pretty much was the extent of what happened to me that I remember.
Yeah. Now, was this the same woman both times, or all times?
All three times. Yes, all 3 times.
Wow.
And then I think I've actually seen her a couple times just recently.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. What kind of interactions do you have with her now?
Well, it's not like I can approach her, and it's not like she approaches me, but I've seen her at a couple of my talks. I'm almost sure of it. I was doing a talk in the San Luis Valley, Colorado, which is famous for UFO sightings. Mm-hmm. And there was a big camping trip up there, and I'm sure she was there. I mean, I remember seeing
Now, do you think she's been just watching you your whole life, or something else?
I can't tell you. I really don't know. It appears to be that way. But I really, could be anything. But I know what I saw. And see, that's what makes my case so different than everybody else's, I guess, is the fact that most of the stuff that happens only seems to happen when there's lots of people around. So it's kind of nice for me because I don't have to explain myself.
Has this woman aged any at all? Someone asked Romanek.
Not. That's what's so bizarre.
Wow.
Have you spoken to her at all? I mean, I know you said you haven't really approached her, but has there been a time when you were able, because this has happened throughout your life, that you have said anything to her?
Well, when I was a kid, I did, but after that, the 2 other times that I thought I saw her, she was too far away for me to approach her, and when I went to go look for her, she was gone. We do have something really bizarre that's been happening lately that a lot of people don't know about. I'm going to talk about it first on your show, believe it or not.
There we go.
Right.
We've had these strange children show up. One of them this summer, we caught her picking flowers in our yard, and the cats were acting weird. We have some cats, and I went out and took some pictures, and it's like this girl stood up she was hiding behind the grill, and she had flowers in her hand, and there were flowers my wife had planted. It's like, oh no, the neighbor kids are going to get in so much trouble. And I remember her eyes were very bizarre looking, very slanted, very huge, beautiful blue eyes. And she went running out of the backyard, out of the gate, and I chased after her, and she just vanished. What's interesting is we had some friends come over that evening, and they found a bouquet or a pile of flowers arranged on our front porch. The flowers that were picked in our backyard is really bizarre.
Now, if you get into like the abduction, a lot of different theories are through reproduction. Like a lot of reasons why people are abducted is through reproduction. And I know Josh on the chat room, mentioned maybe she's a hybrid, but I'm thinking maybe, those kids that are seeing are your like hybrid babies, and they're coming out to like try to make contact with their daddy. They're bringing you gifts.
That's the thought that the researchers have, because we've seen this. Well, a girl, and it's always girls for some reason. And we've captured, we have her in a few photos.
Really?
One, we were messing around with a new camera I got, and it was kind of late at night, and it was raining outside, and we took a picture, and I noticed movement outside of the living room window. Got this big picture frame window. And there's a little girl that was kind of peeking in through one of the windows, and it's like, what in the world? And we all went outside and ran after her, and she ran too fast. And we actually got plaster casts of the footprint she left in the front garden.
Two quick questions. First off, how old are you? You said you've been having this since 5, so how old are you now?
46.
46, okay, so like 41 years, wow. Secondly, this has to affect your family. I mean, how does this affect your family? I mean, what does your wife think about this?
Well, I actually met my wife online. She lived in Nebraska, I lived in Colorado, and I wanted to videotape the surrounding area and send her a care package because I wanted to entice her to Colorado. And that's how I saw my first UFO. Believe it or not, she still married me, even though all this weird stuff started happening.
You have to know it's true love at that point.
Absolutely, let me tell you. And it got to the point, and stuff happens literally weekly, just bizarre, not necessarily abduction stuff, but the high strangeness stuff. But it got to a point where we were afraid to sleep. I mean, my stepkids still sleep with the lights on. I've got twin stepdaughters that are in their 20s. My stepson is 15. What is more terrifying to us, though, is all the harassment that we've gotten. All that, I've been shot at and beat up and stuff like that.
By who? Who would shoot at you for this? Wow.
You tell me.
Oh, jeez, that's even scarier. Other than shooting at, which is just probably the extreme I'm hoping, what else has happened? What kind of harassment has been taking place?
Well, we've had our house broken into. Even last 2 weeks ago, we had our house broken into, and they took out my website. They got in and took out all our emails and screwed up our computers. We found listening devices in our house. It's been documented. Our phones have been tapped. That's been documented. I was beat up pretty severely when I lived in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Did you get
to shut up about this stuff.
Yeah, did you get a look at the person that did that, or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there were 4 people in a unmarked black SUV, and they were military types, and I was riding my bicycle to work because I lived fairly close to work. I didn't want to drive my car. And they somehow knew exactly where I parked my bike behind my work. And they drove up, got out, and told me to keep my mouth shut. And I said, I never said anything to you. And they started talking about the ET stuff. I said, oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about. I'm not going to shut up. I ended up with a broken nose and a broken wrist, and I was tasered. And there were people driving by when this happened. The police got there right just after these guys left. In fact, people were trying to chase these guys to get their license plate and stuff, and they lost them. So. Jeez.
I know when I was talking to when we were working on the interview that something was happening with your emails and and all this at the time, which was I'm thinking, okay, we just an abduction case, okay, and then I start talking and I'm like, what's happening now? What was happening with your emails? Email addresses. Was this the same thing with somebody breaking into your house or?
Exactly. What they did was they broke into our house and they got our passwords, and we actually found a device on my wireless network card, and that's being investigated right now too.
Huh.
And they took out everything. They changed the passwords to our emails so we couldn't get in our emails. They took out our website. They took out everything, literally. My YouTube videos, my Twitter account, everything. And this is what we've had to live with. I mean, see, people don't understand, the debunkers especially, the people that just refuse to believe that this stuff is real. If this wasn't real, then why are we being harassed so much?
Now, who do you think personally is doing the harassing? Do you think it's government? Do you think it's like Men in Black type of situation? Do you think it's just like naysayers?
Listening to your last speaker, who is government, really? I mean,
that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a very blurry line at this point.
I can tell you that whoever they are, this has been going on for almost as long as, my experiences. I've been followed, and that takes lots of money. I mean, by now they must have spent millions of dollars doing what they do. Who has that kind of money, and why?
Yeah.
I don't get it, but it still happens.
Now, do you have anybody protecting? Do you hire security? I think I would have them on speed dial at this point. Is there any security at all that you? Not that, and don't give anything away, of course. That that would put you in danger. But
yeah, we've got inside help. We know we do. We've got help from up above. I'm absolutely positive we do. There's evidence of that all over the place.
Now,
unfortunately, here's the thing. A lot of people think that because of what I'm doing, I'm making a lot of money, which is absolutely not the case. In fact, we're so poor we can't pay attention. I couldn't afford security even if I wanted to.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about all that happening. Let's go ahead and get to the abductions themselves. Your first abduction, you were abducted by, you called them the possum people. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit? How it happened.
Well, it was September 20th, 2001. I had seen my first UFO 2000. Had some other weird stuff happen, but I was actually at work. I was in management, corporate and retail management. I was managing the store at the time, actually. And all my employees left, and my last customers were just leaving. And I had locked up the doors, and just right before I locked up the doors, my customers came running back in, and they was yelling that there was something above my work. And the first thing I thought of was, somebody climbed on the roof and was monkeying around. But when I went outside to see what they were looking at, there was a UFO. This thing must have been about 40-foot diameter, probably about 500 feet, just hovering above my work, just stationary. It's like, okay, that's the weirdest thing I ever saw, and it wasn't your typical UFO. It was perfectly round, and it was blinking really, really fast, very rapidly. And eventually this thing just kind of floated away. I locked up my store, and I drove home quickly. After my first UFO experience, it's like, oh, my goodness, it kind of seemed a little weird. This thing showed up again. Well, as I was driving home, I noticed the blinking off in the distance. It looked like it was coming back, but this time it looked like it stopped above my apartment complex, which really kind of scared me. I ran upstairs. My friend and my sister were waiting for me. I ran upstairs. I grabbed my camcorder. We all came out and watched this thing for a little bit. And it just kind of went away. It's like, okay, that's pretty creepy. By about 11 o'clock, my friend left. I went to bed. My sister also went to bed. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, there was knocking at the door, and they must have been knocking for quite a long time to wake me up, but I was fully awake. When I got up to answer the door, I got to the hallway, and I noticed my sister had already answered the door. and there were 3 people standing outside, and I thought they were young teenagers because they were a little bit shorter than my sister. There was a female and 2 males, which is not typical of what you hear. Now, what gets me, when all the TV shows and radio shows I've done, they have debunkers. They'll say, "Oh, it's this sleep paralysis stuff."
Mm-hmm.
Well, what they don't tell you is 20% of the real abduction cases that happen while people are driving their cars, like Betty and Barney Hill. Or, when they answer the door, if that worked. Has nothing to do with sleep paralysis. I was fully awake when this happened. I remembered everything.
I think this is the first one I've ever heard of them knocking to come in. Very atypical.
Exactly. It was not typical at all. Well, I got fairly close, and I see these things standing there, and I'm thinking, what? They've got masks on. They have to have some kind of costumes on. And the first thing I thought of, they got masks on. They're going to rob us. So all this stuff is running through my head, and I'm screaming at my sister, "Don't let him in! Don't let him in!" And as I get closer, I notice that my sister has this kind of dumbfounded, blank stare on her face. She was actually staring at the ceiling, which I thought was weird. It's like, what in the world? And the female kind of pushed her aside, and she stepped forward, and that's when all hell broke loose. That's when I realized, first of all, that these weren't masks. And when she grabbed my wrist, and how do I explain this? It's kind of like trying to explain the color red to a blind person, really. A thought popped into my head, and that thought was, "You're going to be okay. It's okay." And I can tell you it wasn't okay because I didn't put that thought in my head.
Now, was there any similarities between these, I guess, the possum people and the lady that you saw several times?
That's the thing that I remember the most. Now, when people talk about ETs, they usually talk about the grays, which I've seen something close to that, but they didn't look gray to me. They were more kind of taupe-colored with a bluish tint to their skin. But these things had huge, almond-shaped, wrap-around blue eyes, like the bluest baby blue you'd ever, almost day-glow baby blue eyes. I've never seen anything like it since. And it reminded me of the woman from my childhood, except the woman from my childhood was a lot prettier. These things had real scraggly, like real old people white hair, very skinny, huge heads. And I remember when the female grabbed me, she had 3 fingers and a thumb with the palm of her hand was extremely long, and the thumb was way down at the bottom of the palm of her hand and almost came up to the tip of her fingers.
Wow. Now, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I remember, they started dragging me. We lived in a second-story apartment. They started dragging me out to the balcony, and there was a male on each side. And for some reason, as I got close to the door, I snapped out of whatever trance I was in, and I grabbed one of the males, and I was going to throw him off the balcony. And I felt the light tap on the back of my head, and I woke up somewhere else.
Huh. Now, what do you remember about being? I mean, do you think you were taken? Well, of course, you were taken to the ship, but I mean, what happened there? What do you remember? I mean, do you remember them doing an experiment? Do you remember?
I remember everything.
You remember everything? Okay.
It wasn't, we joke around every time, and even a producer for Good Morning America, ABC Good Morning America, when she came down and they wanted to film for the thing, they got to see UFOs and stuff. And we joke about it. We always say, "Oh, look, we're having sleep paralysis again. Wake up, everybody." But I honestly, I remember everything. And I remember when I woke up, I came to. I was literally, I was stuck to a wall. I don't know how else to explain it. And those rides, you go to the amusement park, those centrifugal force rides?
Yeah.
I don't know what they call them, tilt-a-wheel or something like that. Well, that's what this felt like. It wasn't like I was glued. It was like literally like some kind of gravitational thing. And I remember looking off to the side, and I could see these quarter-sized copper pieces embedded in the wall, like every foot or so. And the female came up to me, and she put her hand on this lip panel, and it released me. And I'm telling you, I was so terrified I couldn't even move. I had tears running down my face. I was just flipping out. And again, this thought popped into my head, "Calm down, you're okay, everything's okay." And she grabbed me and pulled me forward, and I remember one of the males came out of this doorway, and looked like he came straight out of the wall, actually. And he was holding a box, and the box looked like it was internally lit, and there was a tube coming out of this box. And it looked like, for lack of a better description, like it had a melon baller at the end of it. And I remember they turned me around, I felt this excruciating stinging pain on my back, on my lower back. And again, I felt a tap on the back of my head, and I woke up on a table in the middle of the room.
Now, do you have any physical...
Absolutely.
You do? Okay, so scars and stuff from this?
Absolutely. In fact, throughout my experiences, that's one of the things I have so much of. It's unbelievable. There's so much trace evidence and so much. I had one encounter where I came back with the wrong clothing on. I came back wearing a woman's nightgown. And it was...
Nick's got stories like that, too. No.
It's like some kind of weird drunk night out, but really it wasn't.
Now, did you notice anything about their skin texture? Like anything, that kind of stood out to you?
I remembered they were extremely pale, and their skin looked a little bit more porous than ours.
Was it smoother, scalier? I mean, anything like that?
It was smoother, almost rubbery looking, but more porous.
How about colder, warmer?
Colder than ours. At least when she grabbed my hand, her hands are really cold. But when I grabbed the male, I remember thinking, man, this thing's light, but damn, it's really very muscular. Just built different.
Now, why do you think they're here? I mean, you talk about, you even said that they were watching you now. Why are they here? What exactly are they? What's their purpose?
See, that's the thing. And, there are a lot of people that say they're experts. I am not. I don't pretend to be. Personally, I have a theory that, if you do any kind of research at all, they've been here for thousands of years. What their agenda is, I have no idea. But it seems that, I'm sure there's good and bad up there just like there is here. But it seems like they really want us to grow up. They really want us to take responsibility for what we're doing to ourselves and to this planet.
They want us to go green.
Pardon me?
I said they want us to go green.
Well, that would make sense. But personally, I think the inmates are running the sanitarium.
Well, that's been happening for a long, long time, and it seems like I'm in this world.
Maybe they're just saying, hey, look, if you want to be part of the neighborhood, you guys got to snap out of it. And, that's why I do what I do, is because I want people to stop being... The reason they're skeptics in this world is because they're afraid or they have some kind of financial gain.
Now, one of our listeners in the Pal Talk chat room asked, do you think you've ever been taken to a mill lab, like a military lab?
Absolutely.
You have?
Yeah, in fact, there are two I've had that I remember. Honestly, there are 9 abduction experiences that I've had. There are 2 that were extremely terrifying for no good reason at all.
Really?
And it was all about the fear, and it was all about the confusion, and there are these, things with big, huge, ugly eyes, and, I was sick for like days afterward, which just doesn't make sense compared to, and after what I've gone through, to me it seems totally plausible that happened.
Now, who was this, an alien lab? I mean, the one I've always thought of them as like a U.S. government laboratory. Is this, when I say mill lab, what do you think about when I say mill lab? Just to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
I think what they did was they tried to disguise it like I was having an alien abduction, and that wasn't the case at all.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I just wanted to make sure.
And we've heard stories like that before, where the government does it strictly for fear, for monitoring and tracking.
And there were some people who thought that's what happened with Betty and Barney Hill to some degree too. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure. And here's an interesting thing: the time that I woke up in the woman's nightgown, when I came back, this was one of the real abductions, not one of the fake ones. At least I thought it was real. I came back, and the nightgown had a wet spot on the back, about mid-back on me. I literally had to get help getting it off because they had to peel this nightgown off me. I looked silly. My wife was laughing so hard she almost fell out of bed.
You say it had a wet spot on it?
Yes.
I mean, if I got abducted, I'd have a wet spot on it too.
Yeah, no kidding. But this was on the back, right about mid-back.
Yeah.
We sent it to the scientists, and they did their analysis, and they found a protein that they can't identify even to this day.
Really?
That resembles a blood plasma expander that's used for, it resembles, it's not quite the same. There's some chemical things they don't understand that are different about it, but they use it for in vitro fertilization. Now, what's amazing
like I said, reproduction, a lot of it.
Exactly. And the scientist that analyzed this also analyzed Betty Hill's dress, and she was at a conference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were approached by Kathleen, Betty Hill's
niece. Kathleen Martin?
Yes, sweet lady. We love her to pieces. She came up to us and she said, well, I heard that you came back in a nightgown. I'd like to talk to you about that. And I said, okay. She goes, well, just right before my aunt died in 2004, she was taken a few months earlier, and she ended up missing her favorite nightgown. It's like,
don't tell me it was the same one.
Well, we're not sure, but she described the nightgown I came back with exactly.
Oh, gosh.
So
sorry, that's crazy. Oh, goosebumps.
It's the fact, but here's the thing: we're having DNA. We're not really going to say it's for sure, but she's got pictures. What's even more amazing is I went to bed wearing a shirt that had writing on it, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want. If this does come out, we got to make sure that everything's up and up on it, but. Betty Hill, actually, she goes, it's weird because my aunt ended up missing her nightgown, but came back with this shirt. And, I saw this shirt laying on on one of the chairs, and she said, where'd you get that shirt? She goes, who knows? Maybe somebody gave it to me, and it said the same thing on the shirt that I had on my shirt when my shirt was taken.
So how do you think that? Do you think it broke the time continuum, or I mean?
No, because
they could have just kept the shirt.
She died in 2004. My abduction experience was late 2003, and they think that's when hers was too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more because I'm thinking now and she's dead.
Well, you were thinking it happened in the. Yeah. You're talking about the 60s one. Okay, I think that's the problem you're having.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, but what people don't understand is the whole family has had experiences all the way from their first encounters all the way up. Everybody pretty much in that family, even to the point just right before Betty Hill died.
Wow. And see, you don't really hear that. You just hear the one big major story.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah.
See, and that's why I was assuming that. So I mean, you stole Betty Hill's dress.
Or he was getting it.
We don't know for sure, but it looks pretty good.
He's just jumping to conclusions. Now, I wanted to talk about this. The one thing that just sticks out to me the most, Audrey.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay. See, that's the
fill
reaction
us all
I was expecting. Can you describe when I say Audrey, what that is and what's happening with that?
Well, Audrey, when I first. We had a documentary filmmaker that got involved in the case. They're still working on getting the documentary out and stuff. But this documentary filmmaker got involved, way back in 2002, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We moved I got married and moved to Nebraska where my wife lives. She couldn't leave Nebraska just yet because of the kids. So I moved to go out there. Eventually, thank goodness, because the weather's scary as out in Nebraska, we moved back to Colorado. And we moved to Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is beautiful, but it has a bunch of top secret military bases in the area. Well, we got a call. The movie producer got a call from a mechanical sounding voice left on his answering machine, and it's a British lady's, this British sounding voice, woman's voice. And it says, get them out of Colorado Springs. They're in danger, blah, 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 and went on and on and on. Well, we thought it was some kind of joke, and we couldn't figure out, it sounded computer-generated. The enunciations weren't quite right.
Yeah.
Well, we found that whenever there was trouble, this thing, whatever it was, this voice had the ability to seem to be able to tell tell the future. And she'd warn us about stuff, and if we didn't listen, man, we'd be sorry we didn't. Well, one of the researchers involved in my case, and let me tell you, I've got some of the top scientists and researchers in the world involved in my case, did some investigative work and found a text-to-speech program called Natural Reader. And it's a voice named Audrey. You know, you can type something down, and a few seconds later, this voice pops out, and it reads the words you typed. Well, here's the kicker. Once he found this, when we realized it was probably a hoax, we started getting phone calls where we started talking one-on-one with this person.
Really?
And we've had 3-hour conversations.
Did you record the conversations?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've got them all. You bet.
I'd like to hear those.
All right, I do. We're at 7:46. I want to give away some of your books.
Sure.
Can we do that?
Absolutely.
We'll do it just like we did the last time. First caller gets a book, and then we'll select.
Already got one selected from earlier, so
okay.
Ready to go.
Yeah, we stuck them all in a thing and pick and chose. So give us
random number generator.
Before I even get, people do have this number on speed dial. I didn't even give out the numbers, and Lola's already
Somebody's already taken one. But now, this Audrey, how often did this Audrey voice call you? I mean, when was the last time you got a message from Audrey?
Well, the last message we got, I got a phone call from my friend. There was nobody on it. I heard a phone ring, and the number that called me was somebody else. And then there was another ring, and pretty soon we were somehow in a 5-person meeting, and then Audrey spoke to all of us, and this was, probably a few months ago.
Now, what kind of messages did Audrey have?
Be careful in your talk. You know, like if I do a conference and, you know, they're letting me know that I'm being followed or...
Oh, wow.
You know,
so do you think it was government stuff? Like the government...
Well, that's what I thought at first, but if it is, we call them white lighters. I'm sure that there's somebody on the inside that's protecting us. I really am absolutely positive.
Now, what do you mean on the inside protecting you? What do you mean by that?
Well, if there is government, you know, if it is a government thing, there has to be somebody on the inside because stuff just happens. That is just amazing to us, you know, like suddenly our bank account gets screwy and then it gets fixed out of nowhere. Or let's say we don't have enough money to pay our utility bills because we used it all on, you know, doing talks and stuff. You know, our utility bills will be paid for.
Okay, so let's see. I'll go ahead and give away the first book here. Where's my file? Winner's Renee from, and I'm hoping I'm saying that right, R-E-N-E, is that Renee? From Vancouver, Washington.
That was the first one.
That was was it?
Yeah.
No, it was Ruth.
Okay,
was the first one. 2 R's, I know they're confusing. But Renee, Vancouver, Washington, you'll be getting a book in the mail. Be sending them out the next couple of days. That one. And then we're working on the other one, still on the phone with that one. So now, let me go back. Your book is called Messages.
Yes.
What exactly are the messages? Do you think ETs have an important message for us, or?
Absolutely.
Okay, and what is that message?
It's time to grow up.
Okay. Oh, we had talked about before. Yeah, that is a very important message then. And okay, then
where are you going with that?
Yeah, where exactly? How are you conveying that message, or how are they wanting you to convey that message?
Well, you know, that's a good question. You know, I'm doing what I can. They don't really. It's not like they talk to you one-on-one, really.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that everything is guided. I've seen things happen that are just amazing that I just sit back and go, wow. What I'm doing really is I'm talking about my story just to get people to understand that this is a real thing. This is not anything anybody's making up. Look, the Vatican came out last year and said it's real, that they've known about it for a long time. Monsignor Balducci, my right-hand man to the Pope.
Really?
Yeah, you can,
I didn't know
do
that.
your own research. Yeah, you bet. In fact, it was made world news, but you didn't hear about it in the United States.
Yeah, we always get kind of the shaft on.
Well, I wonder who's controlling that.
Yeah, gee.
Yeah.
Where's Stephen Bassett when you need him?
I mean, your story is just, it's just fascinating. I mean, one of the questions I have to ask, I mean, you're talking about, alien that abduct you, the possum people. Are these the only ones that have abducted you? Have there been other types or races or species of aliens?
Well, there were 3 that I know of.
Okay.
What people say are the Greys, and something that looked like a giant grasshopper or a bug.
Sure.
And that's happened once. I've got, if you saw the primetime special or the ET Tonight special or any of those, you can go to the website and see we thought we had a peeping Tom. And, at the time, my stepdaughters were young teenagers, and I see movement out one of the windows, and this went on for a few months. I called the police. We set little traps, sticks, so if they stepped on the sticks, we'd hear them. I had a bat by the door. And one of the researchers suggested that I take my camcorder and point it toward the window, put it on night shot, and just walk away. And I actually went to the bathroom, sat at the edge of the bathtub waiting, and I saw 2 flashes of lights, and I looked out, and I see this head pop down. It's like, yes, I got him. Well, when I reviewed the tape, it was not what I expected.
Now, what exactly, why wasn't it what you expected, I guess?
Because I thought it was going to be a person, and it wasn't a person.
Oh, okay, I got you. And so it was...
I don't want to...
Yeah, it looked like a gray. Okay, I think I'm pretty sure I've seen that video. Now,
sure.
And that's I've heard people on both sides saying some people defending it, some people of course if you go to YouTube, there's people that try to recreate it, showing I mean what do you when you see something like that, what do you think?
Well, when I first saw it, it's like, it's got to be somebody in a mask.
Sure.
But here's the thing: when I went to the window, I saw this I thought it was a little kid running away, and it clipped one of the bushes. It was, I thought it was a full moon, but it wasn't. It was whatever it was. It was pretty bright outside, and I saw this thing. It looked back at me, and its eyes were not normal. I mean, you could see, again, go to the website. It's on the website. I show everybody. You can see it for yourself. I jumped like a little screaming little girl and run away.
That would probably be my reaction. So I can't knock you for that. So your website, you said everybody go to your website. That's Stan Romanek, ROMANEK.com, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Making sure you're still there with us. I thought for a second we lost you. And now we also have your book up for sale on Amazon. I know it's at Llewellyn Publishing. They can get it there. Can you buy it off of your website?
Yes, you can. And if you want an autographed copy, you can actually go to the website and special order a copy, and the order comes to me, and I'll sign it for you, whatever way you want me to, and I'll ship it to you.
Oh, great.
Very awesome.
There you go.
Our phone winner is Barbara.
Yes.
And we'll be getting that book to you. Lola's got your info.
Right.
Great.
I'm going to say hi to Barb in Katy, Texas. I just got to talk to Barb in Katy, Texas. Yes.
There was also a couple people in the chat room, Brian, that they got to talk to. Oh my God, I talked to Lola.
Yeah, Lola's the big draw here.
It's sick. I wish people were excited they got to talk to me, but
I am every week.
it's not. Well,
Stan
thank
was
you,
excited.
Stan.
So.
I'm excited to talk to you, sir.
We should get fan clubs up for both you guys. All right. Well, Stan, it's a lot of fun. We're running out of time. We've got to get you back on. I mean, there's so much stuff to go over, and I was hoping we'd get a lot of the stuff in. So I made sure I got the things that I really wanted to talk to. The Audrey would just freak me out. I don't know how you go on.
It makes me think of I bring this up all the time, so if you listen all the time, you'll get over it. Mothman, the Mothman prophecies.
Oh God, that scared the heck out of me.
In the scene where the robotic voice keeps calling and
wow, that is right. Yeah.
It's like, hey, open up the book in the drawer, page 400, line 3 says this. And
now, has that ever happened to you at all? Does somebody leave you a message?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Oh, really?
What's weird is now we have these little kids calling. That's what they sound like anyhow.
See, now the kid thing would freak. I would change my phone number, and never talk about it again.
He doesn't like
We've
kids.
moved 8 times, and it doesn't help.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, if
Mostly
the little
because
kids
of
would
the
chase
harassing.
me. Yeah.
Now, what do you do with the little kids? The things that you see?
Freak out.
Like
go,
Lola
wow,
says, do you stab them?
No. I mean, they're beautiful little girls, and it's always little girls. and with really these weird, amazing eyes. And, I take pictures of them, and everybody sees them, and we try to chase them. And it's like, at first I saw one, and I thought it was the neighbor's kid, and it just vanished. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah, see, I ever since I've watched The Shining with, with Jack Nicholson and the two little girls in the blue dress, the little girl, if that ever showed up at your house, I would recommend running and never looking back. Because if that ever happened to my house, I would do the same thing.
Kids scare me.
I live really close to that hotel where that was filmed.
Yeah.
Kids scare me.
I'm
not gonna lie.
Do you live up by Estes Park?
Yeah, I don't live too far from there. Yeah.
I love that. My son lives in Boulder.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
And Netherland. Have you been to Netherland?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You have to go up there. What's the name of the bar? Pioneer Inn. The PI.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Been there.
Of course, Lola's asking about the bar.
Best rock and roll in all of Colorado.
And if you find a guy there in cowboy boots,
I know. We're looking for cowboy boots for me.
that's what you want.
Likes cowboys too.
Stan, I want to thank you again for coming on the show. We're definitely going to have you back, and we're definitely going to be talking about this topic again because we love it. And
you bet.
because we love it.
Because it's our show. We can do what we
want. Because
we
we have the microphone, and
That's
you
right.
don't. So if you don't like what we're saying, put up with it for another hour, and you got to...
Right,
Stan, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you again.
You bet.
All right, bye. See, I think UFO stuff is really interesting. I don't,
Did you? I did get on YouTube.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, but there's so many spoof ones that I'm not sure which is his and which isn't. And
I actually have. Are you on?
I'm not on anything now.
Okay, well, I've got it on my computer. Once we get off the air, I'll show you the real video, the one with him jumping. Yes, Dan, now I saw you jump like a little girl. And that's the jump I would make if the little girl showed up in my house.
See, I'd be jumping and peeing. See, I'm not too proud. Next week, who we got, Nikki?
All right, well, next week we have 3 guests.
Okay, wait, let's say how we're going to do this first.
Yeah.
We have our 2 regular guests, and then because on UPRN we're only on for 2 hours.
Right.
We're going to have our 3rd hour is going to be
It's not
pre-recorded.
going to be on the air.
It'll be on the air here.
No.
No?
No, we'll just record it. We can record it and then we have an hour whenever.
However you want to do it, we'll work it out.
Yeah, we can just, not have to physically be here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You mean we get to go home early? We're not going to sit here and talk and chat and throw popcorn at each other? You get to. We'll stay with you, Lola. You know we love you.
All right, we're gonna go ahead.
We're
gonna go ahead and just talk about our first 2 guests and then go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got Annie Wilder.
Annie Wilder talking about the book's Spirits Out of Time. This will be very. Actually, we got 2. Next week's Irish week. I didn't realize that. She's comes from an Irish and I think a German. And if I'm wrong on that, I'm sorry, Annie. Irish German family, and she's recorded her family's history of ghosts throughout the years. Which is going to be, I think that's going to be awesome. I've got the book at the house. I've been flipping through it.
Okay, the next one I want to say.
Go ahead,
Can
George.
We
got
have
that big
we
smile
have
on your face.
Patrick Heron is back.
Yay!
Do you remember him, Lo?
Yes, I do.
Our best-selling Irish author.
I like Patrick.
And his book is called The Return of the Antichrist. I think it's going to be similar to what we talked about last. And his book before was about the Nephilim, which I think was... we still get emails saying that was the best show that we've had was with Patrick. So I'm really looking forward to him. He was really cool.
He's excited to come back. He's looking forward to it. At least he told me he was. But I hope he's looking forward to it.
I'm sure he is.
If not, he'll get over it.
That's right. All he had to do was say no.
That's right. He did.
And he didn't.
So he's really happy. No, I'm sorry. I'm just making. See, look, we've got Lola to get to Oi at this point. I told you the day would come.
I know it.
So,
all right, everybody. That's all the time we got for today. We'll keep you updated on when we're doing the other things we do. You'll get over it. Anyway, that's all we got. Until next week, everybody.
Why do you have to keep saying we'll get over it? Stop whistling at me. You've got this attitude today. He's riled up. I got to deal with this going home.
See what time it is, Nick?
I'm good. Goodbye.
Don't be afraid. Only believe.